I'm Tara Reynolds, 38, a high school math teacher in a quiet suburb of Raleigh, North Carolina. For 8 years, my husband Luke and I built a life together. A cozy split-level home, 2 kids, Emma and Ben, and a rhythm of soccer practices, school plays, and Sunday barbecues. Trust was the foundation of our marriage. Luke, with his steady blue eyes and easy grin, was my partner, my rock. I never doubted him. Not until that night in June, when the air was heavy with honeysuckle and everything I thought I knew came apart. We were in bed, the kids asleep down the hall, the AC's hum filling the quiet. Luke turned to me, his voice light but cautious. "Tara, what if we tried something different? Mark and Jenna invited us to a party. A swingers party." His words hit like a slap. I sat up, my heart racing, the room closing in. What?" I asked, praying I'd misheard. He repeated it, casual, like he was suggesting a new movie. "It could be fun, Tara. Maybe good for us, to shake things up." I stared at him, the man I'd promised to love forever, now a stranger in our bed. "Luke, that's not us. That's not what we do." My voice was sharp, trembling with shock. We argued, our whispers turning heated. I told him it would ruin us, that crossing that line would break something irreparable. He brushed it off, saying I was overreacting, that it was just one night. But I saw the spark in his eyes. Excitement, not hesitation. Terrified me. The next few days were strained. At breakfast, while Emma rambled about her science project and Ben smeared peanut butter on his toast, Luke kept bringing it up. "It's not cheating if we're both there," he said one morning, flipping pancakes like it was no big deal. I gripped my coffee mug, my knuckles white. "If you go, Luke, we're done," I said, my voice low so the kids wouldn't hear. His smile wavered, but he didn't back down. "I'm going," he said finally, defiant. "With or without you." Then cruelly he added, "I'll record it, Tara. You'll see it's nothing." His words cut deeper than I expected. The betrayal wasn't just the act. It was his dismissal of my pain. But as the hurt sank in, a colder part of me woke up. If he was going to record it, that could be evidence. Proof for a divorce. I swallowed my anger, nodded, and said, "Do what you want." Inside, I was already planning. That night, Luke left for Mark and Jenna's, wearing a crisp shirt I didn't recognize, his cologne sharp and unfamiliar. I stayed home, tucking Emma and Ben into bed, reading The Hobbit until they fell asleep. The house felt too quiet, the silence heavy. I sat in the dark, my mind spinning, heartbreak mixing with a strange clarity. If Luke was throwing away our marriage, I'd protect our kids. I'd protect myself. He came back at dawn, hair tousled, a smug grin on his face. "See? No big deal," he said, tossing his phone on the counter. "It's all there if you want to watch." His nonchalance was a knife in my chest. I took his phone, my hand steady despite the storm inside, and transferred the files to my laptop while he showered. The video was worse than I'd feared. Luke laughing, carefree, with a woman I didn't know. My stomach churned, but I saved the file, my resolve hardening. This was the end. That morning, I called my mom to watch the kids, claiming a work emergency. By noon, I met with a divorce lawyer, a sharp woman named Karen who listened as I spilled the story. "The video's enough," she said calmly. "With that, you've got a strong case for custody and a fair settlement." I nodded, the weight of it settling in. This wasn't just about betrayal. It was about securing Emma and Ben's future. As I drove home, my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. * Luke's not who you think. Check his email. * My pulse raced. Who was this? I pulled over, heart pounding, and logged into our shared laptop. Luke's email was a minefield. Messages from someone named C arranging late-night meetings, mentioning deals and drops. Was Luke involved in something beyond infidelity? The thought chilled me. Whoever he was, they knew too much, and now so did I. The days after Luke's betrayal were a haze of pain and purpose. I went through the motions, driving Emma to soccer, helping Ben with math homework. While inside I was falling apart. The video played in my mind on a loop. Luke's laughter, his hands on a stranger, his disregard for our vows. But that anonymous text about his email haunted me. Who was C? And what were these deals? I couldn't shake the feeling that Luke's betrayal ran deeper than the party. At the school, I kept my distance, nodding curtly when Luke passed by in the hallway, his smile too bright like nothing had changed. I stayed late, avoiding home where the air felt thick with his lies. One night, alone in my study, I dug into his email again. The messages from C were cryptic but damning. Dates, times, locations around Raleigh, places like abandoned lots near Crabtree Valley. One email mentioned a package and $10K by Friday. My heart sank. Was Luke caught up in something illegal? Drugs? Money? I didn't want to believe it, but the evidence was mounting. I copied the emails to a USB drive, my hands trembling. Karen needed to see this. When I showed her, her eyes narrowed. "This could be serious, Tara," she said. "If he's tied to something criminal, it strengthens your case for full custody." I nodded, but the weight crushed me. Luke wasn't just unfaithful, he might be dangerous. I had to protect Emma and Ben no matter what. The next evening, Luke came by to grab some clothes, his attitude still infuriatingly casual. "You're making this bigger than it is," he said, tossing a jacket into a bag. "It was one night." I didn't mention the video or the emails. Instead, I asked, "Who's C?" His face froze just for a moment before he laughed it off. "No idea what you're talking about," he said, but his eyes darted away. He was hiding something. That night, another text from the unknown number. Asterisk look in his car. Glove box. Asterisk my stomach churned. After Luke left, I crept out to his SUV in the driveway, the street quiet under the streetlights. The glove box held a burner phone and a small notebook with numbers and initials, matching the email patterns. C was mentioned again alongside drop at 2 a.m. I pocketed the phone, my mind racing. This wasn't just about our marriage anymore. It was something bigger, something that could hurt my kids. I hired a private investigator, a grizzled ex-cop named Mike, to dig into C. He was expensive, but I needed answers. Mike tailed Luke for a week, reporting that he'd been meeting a man, tall, mid-40s, always in a dark hoodie, at odd hours in rough parts of town. "Looks like small-time money laundering," Mike said. "He's a courier maybe. This C guy's careful, but I'll get his name." The news hit like a brick. Luke, my husband, wasn't just cheating, he was a criminal. I shielded Emma and Ben, keeping up bedtime stories and pizza nights. But the stress was eating me alive. One evening, as I tucked Emma in, she asked, "Is Daddy coming back?" I forced a smile. "We're figuring things out, kiddo." Inside, I was furious. Luke's choices weren't just breaking us. They were risking our kids' safety. At school, I overheard Mark talking to Jenna about the party. "Luke went wild," he said, not seeing me nearby. "Not just one woman, 3. My blood boiled. The video had shown one person, but 3? His betrayal was a bottomless pit. I confronted Mark later, cornering him in his driveway. He looked ashamed but confirmed it. "He didn't even hesitate, Tara," he said. "I'm sorry." I walked away, the truth a heavy weight. Luke's secrets, C, and now this. I needed to act fast. The divorce moved quickly. Karen filed the papers, citing irreconcilable differences and infidelity, with the video as our strongest evidence. Luke hired a slick lawyer named Greg, who tried to frame him as having a midlife crisis. But the video was undeniable. Luke's smugness couldn't save him. In court, I sat rigid, Emma and Ben with my mom, while Luke avoided my gaze. The judge watched the video in chambers, her face unreadable, but Karen assured me it was enough. The emails and notebook bolstered our case, hinting at Luke's criminal ties without dragging the kids into a public mess. Mike identified C as Caleb Holt, a mid-level crook running a money laundering scheme through local businesses. Luke was a small player making cash drops, unaware of how deep it went. Mike tipped off the Raleigh PD, who were building a case, but I kept that quiet. My focus was Emma and Ben, keeping them safe, keeping them with me. The court granted me full custody, citing Luke's unstable behavior and questionable associations. The financial settlement favored me, leaving Luke with little beyond his car and clothes. He'd lost everything: his family, his reputation, his stability. After the hearing, I met Mike at a diner off I-40. He slid a photo across the table. Caleb in that dark hoodie meeting Luke at a warehouse. He's under surveillance, Mike said. But he's slippery. Watch your back, Tara. I nodded, my jaw tight. Caleb knew I'd taken the notebook, and that anonymous note, *stop digging or your next asterisk, still haunted me. I installed a security system at home, told my mom to keep the kids close. I wasn't taking risks. Luke moved into a cheap apartment downtown, his life a shadow of what it was. He called once, begging to see Emma and Ben, but I kept it supervised, per the court. You did this, I told him, my voice icy. He didn't argue, just looked away, his smugness gone. Mark and Jenna pulled back, embarrassed by their role in the party. The neighborhood gossip was harsh. Luke was the outcast now. Another text came that night. You can't hide forever. I blocked the number, but my hands shook. Caleb was out there, and I knew he wasn't done. I bought a gun, kept it locked in a safe. Emma and Ben didn't need to know the danger circling us. I'd protect them no matter what. Months passed and the dust settled, but the scars lingered. Emma and Ben adjusted to our new life. Just the three of us in the Raleigh house, quieter without Luke's laughter or lies. I sold the place, moved us to a smaller home near my mom's, closer to family, further from Caleb's reach. The divorce was final, the custody order solid. Luke got supervised visits, his reputation ruined after whispers of his wild night spread. The emails and notebooks stayed out of court. I didn't want the kids in her mess, but the police were closing in on Caleb. Mike updated me weekly. He's careless. They'll get him soon. I threw myself into being a mom. Emma's science fairs, Ben's soccer games. They kept me grounded. But nights were tough, the betrayal replaying like a bad movie. Luke's face, his smugness, his secrets. It hurt, but I was free. One evening, Mark stopped by, apologetic, saying Luke had bragged about bigger plans with Caleb. He thought he'd get rich, he said. Didn't see the fallout. I nodded, unsurprised. Luke always chased more. More excitement, more money, more everything. Now he had nothing. The police arrested Caleb in October, a sting near a Raleigh strip mall. He'd been laundering money through vape shops, Luke a pawn in his game. Luke wasn't charged, small fry, Mike said, but his name was mud. I didn't care. My kids were safe, and that was enough. I taught them to ride bikes, helped with homework, and found joy in their laughter. The pain of Luke's betrayal lingered, but it didn't define me. One night as I tucked Ben in, he asked, "Are we okay now, Mom?" I hugged him tight. "Yeah, buddy. We're okay." Emma joined in, and we sat there, a family, unbroken despite Luke's choices. I'd lost a husband but gained clarity, strength, and a future for my kids. The bitterness faded, replaced by a quiet empowerment. I'd uncovered the truth before losing more years to his lies. That was victory enough.